Hi everyone, welcome to Juniteens time again. Hope you had lots of fun and enjoyed yourselves so far. Let's just pray and ask God to give us another good time this week. Lord God, we thank you that there's still lots of good things we can do and enjoy, and Juniteens time is one of them. Thank you for all the fun we have, for all the enjoyment. Thank you at the same time we learn about you and the Lord Jesus and the Bible. We just pray you give us a really good week, as we ask it in the precious name of the Lord Jesus. Amen. Well, this week we've got to think about the biggest picnic ever. Well, if you've ever been on a picnic, you go to the seaside perhaps, or to a pond, or into the countryside, perhaps even just in your back garden. You have something to eat there with your friends and your family, perhaps by the river, perhaps in the forest. And one day, Jesus gave the biggest ever picnic. It wasn't just for his friends and his family, it's for lots and lots and lots of people. And this is what happened. The people had been listening to Jesus teach them about God. And it was about tea time, so the disciples said to Jesus, "Master, we think you ought to send the people away to the villages round about so they can get something to eat and they won't get hungry." It was a very kind of them, wasn't it? To think about the people. Perhaps they would think about their own bellies and they were hungry as well and they wanted something to eat. And Jesus says, "It's okay. We're going to have a picnic. You give them something to eat." Can you imagine the disciples? Where are we going to get all that food from? Where can we find so much food for all these people? Have you seen the crowd? Have you seen the size of the crowd? Have you seen how many people there are? Where can we get so much? And do you know how much it would cost to feed them? It would cost more than half of one person's wages, what one person would earn for 1 year, to give everybody just a mouthful, and they'd still be hungry. What are we going to do? How can we feed them? And Jesus said, "How much food do we have?" And they said, "Here's a boy who's got his packed lunch. He's got 5 small loaves of bread and 2 small fish. But that's not going to feed anybody. It's only enough for this little boy." And Jesus said, "Tell the people to sit down on the grass in about groups of 50. So he sat the people down, and Jesus took the loaves of bread and the fish, and he said thank you to God for them. And when he said thank you to God for them, he started breaking them apart. And he shared them out, and the disciples went around and gave them the groups of people on the grass. And the amazing thing was that every single person was fed. Every single person had some bread and some fish. And amazingly, nobody was hungry afterwards. They all had enough to eat. Their bellies were all full. Wow, that was amazing. And nobody could believe it. But Jesus, with 5 small loaves and 2 small fish, fed all these people. Do you know how many people were? The Bible calls it the feeding of the 5,000. But that was 5,000 men, plus the women, plus the children. So we're about 10,000 people that Jesus fed. And afterwards, there was still loads and loads of food left over for the disciples to have as well. Do you know, the people thought that was brilliant. And they said, "Let's make Jesus our king. If he's our king, he will make the Romans go away. And then we can be our own people again. We won't have them in charge of us. And besides which, he'll do wonderful things like giving us free food and making all the people better. What a man to have as king." And Jesus said to them, "I haven't come to be that sort of king. I've come to be a king who looks after you, who takes care of you, will take away the bad things in your hearts and make you God's friend. Then one day I can take you to heaven to be with me there forever." But the people didn't want to know about that sort of king. They wanted Jesus to be their sort of king. So Jesus got up and left and went away. I wonder, when Jesus says to us, he wants to be our king, what sort of king we want him to be. Do we want him to be a king who could give us things? Jesus, you can be my king if you'd help me with my tests in school. Jesus, you can be my king if you'd help me be a good footballer or a good singer or a good dancer. Jesus, you can be my king if you give me lots of friends, lots of followers on Facebook or wherever social media I'm on. Jesus, you can be my friend if I can have lots of money and I can have a nice car and a big house and all sorts of things like that. And Jesus says, I don't want to be your king if that's the sort of king you want me to be. I want to be your king to look after you, to care for you, to take away the bad things in your heart, the things that you've done to make God angry with you, so that you can be his friend. Then one day I can take you into heaven to live there with me forever. What sort of king do you want Jesus to be for you? Is it one he wants him to give you things now? Because he won't be that king for you. Or is it one that will take you into his kingdom of heaven to be there forever? Because that's the sort of king Jesus wants to be for you and for me. And I hope and pray that's the sort of king he be for all of us. Excellent. Okay, we've got our quick quiz now. All right, here we go. Number 1. How many people did Jesus feed altogether? 5,000, 7,000, 10,000 or 15,000? Well, did you remember it was 5,000 men plus the women plus the children? 10,000. Well done if you got that one right. Who had a packed lunch for them? A girl? A boy? A man? A woman? Well, it was a boy who had his packed lunch with him. How many loaves and fish were there? Were there 10 loaves and 2 fish? 2 loaves and 2 fish? Or 5 loaves and 2 fish? Well done if you remember it was 5 loaves and 2 fish. True or false? After Jesus had fed them, some of the people were still hungry. That's false, isn't it? They all had enough to eat. And they all had full bellies. True or false? The people wanted Jesus to be their king so that he could take them to heaven. Sadly, that was false. They wanted Jesus to be their king, to make the Romans go away, to give them free food, and to do good things for them all the time. It's rather sad, isn't it? Hope we don't want Jesus to be that sort of king for us. Okay, the sound of scoop of the toy means it's activity time. Have you got your crisps and your plate? Well, here's my packet of crisps. Okay, I want you to open the crisps, pour them out on your plate and count your crisps. All right, see how quickly you can do it, and we'll see how many crisps you have on your plate. When you're counting yours, I'll tell you that I had 30 crisps in my packet. Okay, that was big ones, so about this big or so, and then there's really small ones about that size. I sort of squashed them together to make up bigger crisps. Now, have you counted yet? Okay. In my packet there were 30 crisps. If I give a packet of crisps to those 10,000 people, how many crisps do you think there would be in total? Okay. So, is there 3,000, 30,000 or 300,000? Okay, so it's, excuse me, itchy nose. So it's 30 times 1,000. So that's 300,000 crisps. Wow! Just imagine if you had one more crisp, how huge that would be. For all those people to have 30 crisps each. Amazing. Well, I want you now to put your crisps back in the packet. You have 10 seconds and don't drop any on the floor. Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stop. Did you get all the crisps back in the packet? How many did you drop on the floor? None, I hope. And if you did, I hope you're going to clean them up afterwards. Okay. Well, did you bring any money with you? I hope so. Don't know how much you've got. Okay, let's pretend that you've got in front of you £50, okay? £50, wow, amazing. And with that £50, you have to go to the fish shop and you have to feed 10 people with your £50. Okay, I wonder what you would buy them. Okay, if you've got your pen and paper or pencil and paper, I want you to write down what you would buy the people. Would you buy the people all the same? So Jesus didn't it? He give all people all the same food, bread and fish. Or would you give some fish and chips, some pie and chips, some sausage and chips, some a veggie burger and chips, some beans and chips, cheese and chips? I wonder what you would get the people. So I want you to write down quickly what you would get the people. Okay? I want you to imagine how much it would cost and would you be able to afford it with your £50? That's the question. So I wonder what you've written down. Did you write down all the same? I think I'd have had fish and chips with a jumbo sausage on the side for me. But everybody will like something different perhaps. Do you know, when it comes to heaven, we all need the same thing. We all need Jesus to take away the bad things in our hearts and make us right with God and to take us to heaven to be with him. And it can't be paid for by money. It's no good. It can only be paid for by Jesus having died on the cross and being punished by the bad things we've done. And then, if we trust and believe that he did that for us, he'll do exactly what we need, and he'll take that stuff, horrible stuff, away from inside us, make us nice and clean, so we can be God's friend, and one day we'll go up there to heaven to be with him forever. Okay, just very quickly, let me see what we need for next week. We need 10 coins. I need a pen and some paper. We're going on an adventure, and we're going to find some treasure, and we'll see whether or not you can find it and get it. Okay, see you then. Bye.